Hey everybody and welcome back. This time it's for real. Like we're going in for the very last time. We've knocked out all of our optional and mini bosses along the way, so now we're splitting into 3 actual teams. Because, I mean, we could technically go all the way to the end of the dungeon, fight one of the last big bosses, and then teleport out and, switch our team over, but instead, this is how we're going to do it. We are going to split up, and unfortunately, Umaro and Strago are going to have to stay behind. You only get 12 slots. We made sure that we have someone, at least one person in each one of our parties that can get up past 128% magic evade. In most parties, we have 2 or even 3, and that'll be important because each one of these parties is going to have to fight at least one big boss. We're going after the statues at the bottom of Kefka's tower, or I guess maybe not the bottom. Like, this place doesn't really make sense. It's very MC Escher. So, as we've done a few times now, we are going to make our way through Kefka's tower here. This party with Locke as the lead has Mog in it, which means no random encounters, nothing to worry about. We just have to continue through the different sections. We just passed the room where we fought Atma just in the last video. And we're going to continue, and we have to open up a path for our other party, the party 1, technically. So here we go. We're going to stand on a switch, and we are going to switch. Not to Celis yet. We're going to go to Terra's party, and then I just cut out. I have to juggle so much equipment because we just don't have enough stuff for everyone. Like, if you're playing this normally, not every single person has to be geared up. Oh, let me show you this. I'm only going to show you this once, but this is how I have to deal with these not bosses, I guess. So this behemoth in the back row of the enemies, I can't run away from him. So we have to kill him before we can run away. I never use Vanish Doom on any bosses in the game, but I have no problem with using Vanish Doom on a random encounter if it's just to get myself out of a fight. So that's what we do. We vanish him so that the next magic attack will hit for sure, and then we use Doom. That kills him, and then after that we can run away. So anyway, going back to what I was saying, when you're playing through this normally, you don't have to have people absolutely geared up to the maximum stats because everybody's pretty strong, Even if you get hit a little bit here and there, you're not going to die in one hit. That's not really the case here. We need to make sure that, in every single battle that we run into, even our random encounters, that we're prepared for the level of like a boss, basically, because that's what every fight is for us. Every single one is, one bad enemy move away from a party wipe. So that means what you don't have to watch, because it's not very exciting, is that every time I switch parties, I have to completely unequip the entire party so that I can reuse that gear, because you can just flip the gear over to the next party. So like I said, not very exciting to watch, but really, really important to do, and it means there's a lot of juggling. And unfortunately, I can't just hit optimize because we don't necessarily want them to have like the best equipment as far as the game thinks. We want them to have the equipment with the highest magic evade. So just a little info on that. Now we're going to switch back. We got Terra's party as far as we needed to, or as far as we can get for now. So we're going to take Locke's party all the way to the next, stop for them, the next hiccup. And that'll be just coming up around the corner here. We're getting to, a switch puzzle. And we need to get all 3 of the parties here. And that'll be kind of our intermediate destination. Then we'll switch to Celis. Again, didn't show it, but had to spend some time reconfiguring equipment here, because the same issues are going to arise. We're going to get into random battles with enemies that we can't run away from, and we need to be able to kill them. And on top of that, we also just need to not die, as we're trying to run away from things. So, we've seen this a few times. We're going to come through what looks like the remains of, the Magitech facility to me. Different parts of Vector and the facility seem to have, fused as Kefka, ripped pieces out of the world to create his tower. Another fun trick, I've showed this before, but I'll show it again here, and this time it's because I actually do need to do a little healing. When you have one party on a save point, you can use a tent with any party. The game just is like, okay, yeah, you're on a save point, you can use a tent there, that's fair. So we're going to switch over, we're going to have Terra heal up, even though she just is standing on a flight of stairs with some rocks in the way. And then Locke's party is just standing on a switch over here. He's going to heal up too. Everybody's going to use a tent. Just resting up inside of Kefka's tower, no big deal. And then we'll switch back and just continue on. And we're going to get to a point here where we have to, open the path for Terra's party. So that's kind of what we're working on, is just getting to that shining spot. We saw it before last time. And should be coming up right around the corner here. There we go. And then same as we did for Locke, we just want to continue on to our next stop. Again, I believe we have been this far because we already killed all the dragons, so you should have seen this already. But if you haven't, in the last episode we came about this far, killed all of the optional bosses, and cleared out some room with a more powerful party so that we could afford to come through here in our 3 groups. So now we're back to the switch puzzle, and again, we just want to unequip everyone in Celis's party, and then with Terra, I'm not gonna lie, I just got confused here. So I loaded up, I went in as Terra's party, and I didn't go straight up the stairs, I turned around and I started walking through here, 100% going the wrong way. So it is what it is. Just had to turn around and start walking back the other way. Whoops, thought about cutting that out, but I'm not too embarrassed of showing little mistakes, so it is what it is. So we'll keep going and find ourselves back out here, right where we started. And then this is a place that we have not been before. So we finally have everybody assembled for the little switch puzzle here. And what that's going to look like is we have to knock down weights, kind of like we saw when Celis almost got squished by Ultros. That we need all of those switches pressed down. And I did have to check, that was what that hesitation was for, because there is a specific order that I wanted to have people turn, if that makes sense up there. Depending on which way you go there, you will have to fight a different one of the statues. And I wanted to make sure that I had Terra go to the right, because that is the statue I'm the most worried about, and her party is the most prepared for it. So, no big deal. We push the weight down so that switch stays flipped, and then we just want to switch parties and have Celis continue up. Got to re-equip here, that's important. So we'll have Celis go up, and then she's basically just going to do the same thing. She's going to come over to the left instead of going to the right, and we'll have Locke take a single teeny tiny step forward so that he doesn't get his head crushed, and then she will end up pushing the switch, or pushing the weight down so that switch stays depressed. Boom, perfect. So not too bad, that opens up the way for him. She'll go back inside, stand on her little switch up to the north here, and then we'll move over to Locke's party, or this could just as well be Mog's party because he's one of the most important parts of it. When he presses his switch, we open up a path in front of us, and then the stairs behind us raise up into a little platform. And we do need to go back that way first before we go forward, because there's a switch back there that opens up a couple of doors. So that is what we need to do next. We'll take Celis and her party and go that way first. Her boss is the one with the most HP, but probably the one that I'm not too worried about it, or I wasn't too worried about it. It's not a hard one. So her party is not strong, which is fine, because it doesn't need to be. So we'll bring her up, we find the statue here, gonna gear up, and then we're gonna fight. And this is Doom, or I believe this one is called Fiend later, if you're more familiar with that name. So our tactics are gonna be pretty familiar by this point. We're gonna get life 3 on everyone, so if they do get knocked out, they will re-raise. And then I'm gonna get haste on everyone. Sabin is gonna use Bum Rush, Setzer is gonna use Ultima, Celis is going to use Ultima as well, and Shadow is kind of the odd man out here. He doesn't really have much to do, so the only thing that I do with Shadow for this whole fight is throw shurikens for 200 some damage at a time. Everyone else is doing, 1,000, 1,300 or so, and Shadow's just doing chump change, but it adds up. So that's the plan for this one. Doom isn't really on my list of most scariest bosses ever. He just used reverse polarity and pulled us all forward. That's really cool. If we get hit at all, we're just gonna die. So when their specials are things like that, you know, you don't really have to worry about them too much. They're kind of just a pile of HP at that point, and that's kind of how I consider Doom, which is what it is. He does have some pretty powerful like spell attacks that he can use, but we're pretty much geared up to avoid the worst of it, so not too bad on this one. In every one of these fights coming up here, I'm gonna have at least like 1 or 2 people that are just kind of there for the ride. He did just use Force Field. If you didn't see that, it's going pretty fast, I know, but this was a really long fight. Basically all that does is set it so that, you know, a specific element is nullified. Again, we don't really care about that because we're not targeting him with specific elemental damage. We're using Ultima, which is non-elemental, as is Bum Rush. So it's just a matter of chipping away at his enormous HP stack, and I think he has like 60,000. I don't know. I'll check. Yeah, it was like 63,000. I actually paused and looked. So yeah, we got a weapon out of that, which is great. Whatever. I mean, obviously people have weapons equipped. How often we use them? Well, not very. So there we go. We get a save point here, and we'll use that and drop a tent down. And then I believe I checked everybody's HP and decided not to use another tent. So each one of these like bosses at the end here is going to drop us a save point, which is just super duper considerate. I really do appreciate that because they're all an absolute slog to get through, and you don't want to be coming all the way back through here. So yeah, we'll climb through the little tunnel ahead, and then we have another little switch puzzle. Not really a puzzle, just we need to get everybody into that room, and we will. Next up is Terra. This is the one that I was the most concerned about. The boss that we're coming here has a couple of nasty things that she can do. So yeah, let's just see how this one goes. Again, just got to gear up because we are switching back and forth, and then we're gonna fight Goddess. And just a reminder, in case you didn't catch it, what we're fighting right now, these are the statues that we saw in the World of Balance that Kefka like reorganized to like blow up the world, basically. So this one is a little bit different, the tactics. We're in like a surround attack or a side attack. Edgar and Realm on the left have a safety bit and the memento ring, which means they are immune to, well, the important one being the zombie status, which is something that will come up in this fight. Realm is pretty much useless. I didn't teach her very much magic at all, so she's not really there for much. However, because she does have that memento ring, she is immune to a status effect, so that was worth bringing her for that reason alone. So Goddess is, again, a big pile of HP that we need to get through. We brought Gogo to mimic Terra using Ultima. The problem with Goddess, though, is that she uses this attack that she just used, and it gives us a countdown, which generally that's like a Doom countdown, and then you die. Well, that's kind of what happens. When the timer counts down to 0, your character dies, but they re-raise as a zombie right away. Now, we don't have a lot of great ways to deal with that status effect. You have to use like a Revivify to break the zombie effect. I have none of those anymore because I just used my last one to get Terra out of the status. So that might explain to you why I was a little nervous about this fight. You can't easily buy them in the World of Ruin, and I didn't stock up in the World of Balance. But it doesn't matter because the one was all I needed. So we beat her. We get another really good weapon that we won't get very much use out of. And then that statue crumbles as well. And thankfully, we get another save point, because another thing that sucks about the zombie status is that it does not go away when you win a fight. A lot of things do, like confuse, but not zombie. Don't like that one, not fun. So we got that taken care of, and then we are just going to push on because they need to get onto their little switch as well. Finally, we are going to switch back to Locke and Mog's party. And these guys have the most work to do because they actually have 2 bosses. We have Guardian. We ran into Guardian in the World of Balance. Well, actually, I don't think we ran into Guardian in the World of Balance. You can run into Guardian in the World of Balance. And if you do, you can't win. It's actually where you learn to run away. I know I talked about this, but it's where you learn to run away if you haven't learned it already. Here we have him finally in the World of Ruin in Kefka's tower, and he's guarding the last statue, and we can actually kill him at this point. Guardian is kind of annoying in that he has different battle programs that do different things. Some of them are pretty deadly, some of them are pretty useless. But the other problem we have here is that I have Locke and Mog, who both have Ultima and are both pretty good. And then I have Gao and Cyan. And Gao is equipped with kind of a goofy setup right now. He's got a Merit Award and the Tempest and the Offering. So he can attack 4 times. If he uses Cat Scratch, he can do, about 1,000 damage per hit if it triggers the little wind slash spell. That's actually really good. Like, we'll take that. Cyan is almost completely useless, so that's very fun. Cyan can be such a good character in a normal game. He can actually do a lot of damage, but not for us. He'll never be very good. So, yeah, all we do is the same as what we always do, and that is get people with life 3 and then just beat the crap out of our enemies with Ultima for the most part. However, in this specific case, we get to very excitingly see something other than Ultima deal the final blow. Also, did you see that? That was 9,000 damage. So that's the kind of thing that we have to deal with sometimes here at the end of the game. So Cat Scratch from Mog actually got the kill on that one, and that's pretty cool. We do a lot of damage with Ultima, so it's always fun to see like something else getting the final blow. So another save point after that boss, which is much appreciated, as were the other ones, and then these guys need to push on as well. This little escalator here, that's a shortcut that we'll run into in a second to kind of back out. There is a hidden ribbon down here. Very cool. We actually don't really use ribbons just because I don't have the space. Like, I have a pretty delicate relic setup. But here we go. We have Poltergeist. This one I think becomes Demon later, but I don't know, like maybe that was not the best word to have. So yeah, as always, we are going to get life 3 on ourselves. I'm actually not worried about Poltergeist at all. And in fact, this battle probably could have gone quite a bit more quickly if I just stopped caring about keeping people alive that weren't contributing. So Mog is not set up to survive this battle quite as well as I maybe could have set him up. So I changed Gao's equipment from the last fight to make him more of a spellcaster. This boss is strong against wind, actually absorbs it. So the little gimmick that we were using in the last fight is not going to work here. Instead, he's going to use Bio, which we've had that spell for, I don't know, not the whole game, but a long time. And he's doing like 1,200, 1,300 damage with it compared to Locke's Ultima, which is doing like 1,400 to 1,500. And that's just the difference between Locke at level 6 and Gao at like level 15. Like, Locke's using a spell that's, I don't know, like 3 times higher in its attack ability, but Gao's magic stat is just so much higher. So that maybe kind of gives you an idea of how much we are holding ourselves back by not leveling up. Anyway, with Poltergeist, it is immune / absorbs fire and wind attacks. It is weak against poison. I actually wanted to get Gao set up with a poison claw so I could do kind of the same thing with his rage, but I didn't have one. I guess I never picked one up, which is kind of weird. So instead, yeah, Gao's going to use Bio. Locke is going to use Ultima. Mog is going to use Ultima when Mog can actually stay alive. Mog learned Quick in the last battle, so if he can survive for long enough to actually cast it, he can get 2 Ultimas off, which is very exciting. But Mog and Cyan ended up becoming just a huge drain because I had to keep resurrecting them and getting life 3 on them, which, like I said earlier, was probably a waste. I don't think I really needed to do that. They weren't really helping enough. And it's not like I was going to die if I didn't have them. But it doesn't matter, because we got him. So Poltergeist is down. That is the last of the 3 statues. We got another really good piece of equipment there. And then the last statue crumbles, and we are going to slide down the hill a little bit here. Then we have this interesting text coming up. So it says, defeat the statues and magical power will not disappear. Kefka drained the statue's power, the source of magic, ? I think what that's supposed to be saying is, like, our magic didn't disappear when we killed the statues, so that's probably really encouraging. But we'll have to learn more about that in the next one, because we are done here for today, and the next video is going to be a long one, so just be prepared. I'm probably going to take a little time to get to that one, but I hope you'll join me, so subscribe if you want to see it, drop me a comment if you have anything you want me to know, and I will hope to see you soon.